The office was quiet, too quiet. It was almost 9 p.m., and the entire floor had emptied hours ago. Only the soft hum of computers and the distant ticking of the wall clock filled the silence. Daniel sat at his desk, shoulders tense, eyes fixed firmly on his laptop screen. He hadn't moved in nearly 10 minutes. Not because he was busy, but because he knew she was standing there. Daniel. Her voice was calm. Smooth. Controlled. But it carried something deeper tonight, something heavier. He swallowed, fingers tightening slightly over the keyboard. Yes, ma'am? A pause. Then the sound of her heels clicking closer. Look at me. His breath caught. He didn't. Clara Whitmore, the CEO, the woman everyone feared, admired, and whispered about, stood just a few feet away from him. She was used to control. Used to people bending under her gaze. But Daniel never did. For 3 months, he had worked under her. 3 months of quiet efficiency, late nights, and perfect reports. And 3 months of him avoiding her eyes. At first, she thought it was respect. Then, insecurity. But now? Now it felt personal. Why won't you look at me? She asked softly. The question hung in the air like a storm about to break. Daniel's jaw tightened. I am looking at the report, ma'am. That's not what I asked. Her voice dropped slightly, losing its corporate edge, becoming something more human. More raw. I asked, why won't you look at me? Silence. Heavy. Suffocating. Daniel slowly closed his laptop. His hands trembled, just slightly, but enough that he clenched them into fists to hide it. You don't want that answer, he said quietly. Clara stepped closer. I do. No, you don't. Try me. He exhaled sharply, standing up now, but still refusing to meet her eyes. Because I know what happens if I do. She frowned slightly. And what exactly happens? Daniel let out a bitter, almost humorless laugh. I forget my place. That made her pause. For the first time, she didn't have a response ready. He finally turned, just slightly, but his gaze stayed fixed somewhere near her shoulder. You're my boss, he continued, voice low but steady. You're powerful, successful, untouchable. Clara's chest tightened. And you think looking at me changes that? Yes. Now his voice was firmer. Because every time I almost do, I stop thinking about deadlines and meetings. He hesitated. Clara took another step closer, her heartbeat picking up. And what do you start thinking about? She asked quietly. For a moment, Daniel said nothing. Then slowly, painfully, he lifted his eyes. And for the first time since he started working there, he looked directly at her. The world seemed to freeze. Clara felt it instantly. That look. It wasn't fear. It wasn't respect. It was something far more dangerous. Something that sent a shiver down her spine. You really want to know? He said softly. Her lips parted slightly. Yes. His gaze didn't waver now. I start thinking about how you stay late even when you don't have to. Her breath caught. How you pretend to be cold, but always notice when someone's struggling. Clara's heart began to pound. And how? He stepped closer. Too close. You look at me like you're trying to figure me out, but you don't realize. He paused, voice dropping to almost a whisper. "I've been trying not to fall for you since the first day." Silence. Complete. Unforgiving. Clara's mind went blank. No one had ever spoken to her like that before. No one had ever seen her like that before. And certainly not him. A single dad. Quiet. Reserved. Broken in ways she didn't yet understand. "You have a child," she said, almost as if reminding herself. "I do. And you still think this is a good idea?" Daniel shook his head slightly. "No." "Then why say it?" He smiled faintly. "Because she asked. Because you wouldn't stop asking." Her chest rose and fell unevenly. For the first time in years, Clara Whitmore felt out of control. "You should leave," she said suddenly. Daniel blinked. "What?" "Go home," she added, turning away quickly. "To your child." Her voice had hardened again, but it wasn't the same. It wasn't cold. It was shaken. Daniel hesitated. Then quietly picked up his bag. "Good night, Ms. Whitmore." She didn't respond. Didn't turn around. Didn't move. But as soon as the door clicked shut, her knees nearly gave out. She grabbed the edge of her desk, breathing hard. "What have you done?" she whispered to herself. Because deep down, she knew the truth. The reason his answer changed everything wasn't because of what he said. It was because, for the first time in her life, she wanted someone to look at her exactly like that again. Clara didn't sleep that night. Not even for a second. She lay in her king-sized bed, staring at the ceiling, replaying every word Daniel had said, over and over again. "I've been trying not to fall for you since the first day." Her chest tightened just thinking about it. It wasn't supposed to affect her. She was Clara Whitmore. A woman who built an empire from nothing. A CEO who could walk into a room full of powerful men and make them nervous with just a glance. And yet, one man's quiet confession had shaken her more than any boardroom ever could. Morning came too quickly. Clara arrived at the office earlier than usual, expecting, to regain control. But control felt distant. Unfamiliar. "Good morning, ma'am." She froze. That voice. Her fingers tightened slightly around her coffee cup before she slowly turned. Daniel. Standing there like nothing had happened. Calm. Composed. Professional. As if he hadn't turned her world upside down just hours ago. "Good morning," she replied, her tone sharp, too sharp. He noticed. Of course he did. But he didn't react. Didn't push. Didn't even look at her longer than necessary. And somehow, that bothered her even more. "About last night," she started. "It won't happen again." He cut her off. Just like that. Her brows furrowed. "What?" "My behavior," he clarified, adjusting the files in his hand. "It was inappropriate. Unprofessional." His voice was steady. Controlled. Detached. Clara felt something twist inside her chest. "Inappropriate," she repeated. "Yes, ma'am." "So that's it?" she asked, stepping closer. "You just take it back?" He finally looked at her. But this time, there was a wall there. Thick. Solid. Intentional. I didn't say I take it back, he said quietly. Then what are you saying? I'm saying it doesn't matter. That hit harder than it should have. Doesn't matter, she echoed. No, he said. Because you're my boss. And I have a daughter who depends on me. I can't afford to make mistakes. Clara crossed her arms, her heartbeat quickening. So I'm a mistake now? The moment the words left her mouth, she realized how they sounded. Too personal. Too revealing. Daniel noticed too. His expression softened, but only slightly. That's not what I meant. Then explain it to me, she demanded. He exhaled slowly. You're not a mistake, he said. You're a risk. Silence. Clara let out a quiet, almost disbelieving laugh. A risk? Yes. He stepped closer now, mirroring what he had done the night before, but this time, there was restraint in every movement. Because if I let myself feel what I felt last night, he continued, voice low, I won't be able to stop. Her breath caught. And what exactly did you feel? She asked, barely above a whisper. He hesitated. For the first time that morning. He hesitated. Something I haven't felt in a long time, he admitted. And that scares you? He shook his head slightly. No. Then what does? He held her gaze. You not feeling the same. The words landed softly. But their impact was anything but. Clara's defenses, her carefully built walls, cracked just a little. Because the truth was, she didn't know what she felt. And that terrified her. I don't do this,